You taking a strap? I'm strapped up.
What's happening? What was that about?
Let's make the fight happen. We strapped the fuck up.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to episode 74 of the SZN Podcast. I'm your host, Flowz.
I'm your host, Kam.
And you know what it is when I'm enjoying the pods. We've got a special guest in the building. Today we have Alex Leo, boxing coach at the Hoddesdon Boxing Academy, also a rugby player as well. So yeah, pleasure to have you on, Alex.
Good evening, chaps. Thank you for having me on. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Welcome aboard, Alex. Welcome aboard. Just before we kick off the episode, just my usual spiel. Make sure you guys check us out on all the streaming platforms, whether that's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, we're all there. YouTube as well. Hit us up on Instagram and Twitter. There's a link in our bio on both of those social platforms that takes you to all of our links, wherever we're situated at. It's all there. So please make sure you like, subscribe, give us a review, all that good stuff, people. All of that good stuff. But yeah, Alex, pleasure to have you on. Thanks for, hopping on board.
Boys, I appreciate it.
First time here, obviously. I asked this question out of all of our guests, really. How do you get into boxing? When did you become a fan of boxing? And I guess, who would you say your favorite boxer or boxers are throughout the ages?
So I mean, boxing's been a big part of my life. My dad used to box at Fitzroy Lodge with my uncle, and then we moved to the home counties, Hertfordshire, and he stumbled across a boxing club in Hoddesdon. It was about 4 people in the gym at the time. Fast forward 30 years, I'm in the mix now, one of the pro coaches and an amateur coach. We've got 95 amateur carded boxers. We've got 13 pros. Yeah, it is buzzing down there. So we've done really well to build it up. And I've boxed. Well, it's my last season actually boxing as an amateur as well. So I'm bowing out to focus more on coaching. But yeah, it's just brilliant down there, Hod Box. It's the right vibe. We do everything from fitness classes for beginners all the way through to the elite seniors and then through to professionals as well. So it's absolutely every single walks of life you've got.
That's amazing. That sounds amazing. It sounds like you guys have got a proper setup down there. And then second part of my question was, you say you had a favorite boxer growing up or now or whatever. Who really did you watch? You thought to myself, I like what he's doing.
For me, it's Evander Holyfield. I box at a super heavyweight, but I'm not the biggest super heavyweight in the world. I'm only 6 foot, and watching him go from light heavy to cruiser to heavyweight, it was just phenomenal. And I tried to get my fighting style based on him. But, he was he's one of my favourites, all time favourites. Yeah.
I can't lie, Alex. That fighting style went for the faint of heart. I won't lie.
Hard style to replicate.
Boy, he went through a lot of punishment, a lot of wars. Boy, I wouldn't recommend that fight style. I won't lie, but yeah,
it's entertaining.
Very entertaining.
Exactly. That's what I'm about, entertainment. So yeah, no.
Absolute legend. We love Holyfield over here.
Big fans of the real deal.
Massive fans of him. Yeah. That's great. As I mentioned, you've got a proper setup down at Hoddesdon. I think you guys were. I think I obviously did some research, and you guys were founded like 1989, and then it's been going from strength to strength since. And if I'm not mistaken, as well, obviously you've got the boxing setup with the amateur and then to elites, but also you've got a boxing management sort of arm as well down there as well set up.
That's correct.
Yeah. So how does that work? If you could tell us a bit about that.
Yeah. So obviously, I've got my pro boxing license as a coach. My dad's got his pro boxing license as a coach, but also he has his management as well now. So he manages a couple of boxers. So he coaches and manages, which is quite good, all in house. There's no what's the word I'm looking for? No cross wires with managers and coaches sometimes. And so we're just trying to build on that really. We've got a couple of promoters we use that are small hall that tend to use a lot of my fighters. And hopefully I can give you some good news in a couple of weeks, but a few more fighters that hopefully sign a bit bigger. But I can't say too much just yet. So
yeah, we'll not try to get you in trouble. We'll not try to get you in trouble, bro. So that's sick. I like that. And as you said, I guess it avoids complications when you've got the coaching side of things and the management side of things in house. There isn't, I guess, a back and forth between two sort of stables or whatever. It makes it easier, I suppose, right? I guess.
Yeah, 100%. It is. I mean, we've had it in the past where we've had like a couple of pros and they've managed to someone else, and it's never really ended well. Someone's always got in their ear and said to leave the club or go to another coach because he's a friend of a friend. And let's face it, the grass is never greener. And within the year, we had 2 out of the 3 that left wanting to come back. But unfortunately, my old man's quite stubborn. And once you go, that's it, you're gone. So.
Right. Nah, I rate that. That's like me. No, I'll be like that as well. I'm petty. Like, nah, cool. You effed off. Cool, right? Yeah, nah. I rate that still.
I respect
it. No.
This ain't the prodigal son. Stay over there.
Yeah, you're over that side of the street now.
That's it. Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, no, I hear that, and I mean, I kind of obviously know what you're referring to in terms of fighters that sort of leave, and I guess, or other people get into their ear and whatnot. I know you guys actually brought through John Hedges, didn't you?
Yes.
He was originally with you guys. You took him, I guess, from an amateur to a pro.
That's an interesting one, actually. That's an interesting story because John come to us as an amateur, 2 wins, 2 losses.
Oh.
He finished us with 44 wins and 4 losses.
Mad.
So, and then he had his first pro fight with us, and unfortunately for him, obviously being young and talented, listen, he's a lovely kid, really nice kid, but being young and naive, people do talk, and unfortunately it does happen. And the game of boxing is a horrible sport. And the hardest thing for us at the time was his dad is still a coach of the amateur boxing section, so it's a bit of a kick in the teeth. And it's still a bit awkward between me and the dad because obviously we've done a lot of work with John, and it's sort of that relationship has broken down a little bit, and it is hard. It is hard, but it's just got to let it go sometimes and just get on with it, really.
Right.
Is that a common thing in boxing? I know you said it's happened a few times with you guys, but is that a widespread thing? People getting in people's ears, telling them this and that?
I mean, I don't know who else you know who's boxed at Hoddesdon, but not many people do know this. But Shannon Courtney, one of them, she won amateur titles with us, but don't ever say anything. Who else? Dennis McCann, Jordan Reynolds, Henry Turner. I mean, the list is absolutely endless, lads. It's just a joke. But they seem to forget where they come from. A lot of these pros, and it's upsetting. But oh well, we'll catch them on the way up.
I mean, I guess in these cases or whatnot, obviously people have got into their ears and said, you might need to move to a higher profile coach or a higher profile.
That's what it comes down to.
So as seen as the smaller guys, even though we're not calling you the small guys, but in that sense of things, going forward, do you think there's a way to prevent this from happening? Because obviously it's not just you this will be happening to. This will be happening to all kinds of gyms, right? Yeah. So
it is. There's a few decent amateur coaches out there that they don't get the credit for how good they actually are.
Yeah.
And it's a shame. Another one actually, Ben Davison trained with Hoddesdon. My dad trained him, and then that for my dad was a massive kick in the teeth. That a guy that had 3 amateur fights to then go on to, let's face it, inherited a couple of boxers. He didn't train them.
Yeah.
That's fair. And that's the thing that me, myself, and my dad, we can't stand it when you see these coaches, they inherit these talents. But you give me a coach, just take an amateur boxer to professional and won a title with them, because I can't give you any. So it happens a lot.
Yeah,
Virgil Hunter.
I was to say probably Virgil. Yeah. I mean, and obviously the Mayweathers maybe, but
that's what I mean. I mean, in England, the shame with Wiggins, he tried to take Alfie Price off us. Alfie Price went there, Southern Area champion, and he's now back with us because it's just too far to get to. He liked it down at the time, but when they're talking contracts and stuff, he's a bit like, nah, I'll go back to where home is. But these coaches always try and catch a small fry out, so to speak, with the talents, and it ain't on. But like I said to you previously, it's a really dog sport. It's dark. It's not.
Yeah,
nice.
We know. Yeah. I mean, me and Flowz have had many episodes where we're slagging off boxing. Really, I mean, we love the sport, but at the same time, sometimes we hate it because it is like that. Sometimes it is very political. It's very dark sometimes. But yeah, do you feel like there's no preventative really to prevent, I guess, these fighters leaving the gyms that brought them through and going on to greener pastures, I guess? Do you think is there nothing that can really be stopped, really? Maybe contract situation? I don't know. I don't know if it's tough, isn't it?
That it is the contract. There is a contract. My dad actually drew one up with another coach for another pro-am gym.
Yeah.
And we took it to the British Board of Boxing, and they've approved it. They've said, look, if you can get a boxer to sign a boxer's coach's contract where you must stay for 3 fights, 4 fights, and it's signed, we'll back it. But it's just trying to get it all in, through properly. Because you get a boxer, sign that. Oh, why am I signing that for? Oh, just protect us. They're a bit like, oh well, nah. Because if I win a title, I'm just gonna fuck off anyway. Excuse me, language, but no, it's true.
No, it's fine.
But yeah, there is talks a minute. We are talking to other coaches as well that have sort of had it done to them before, and we're all trying to sort of get into sort of an agreement where we can get a contract drawn up to stop this happening. I think it'd be brilliant. I think it would really benefit the guys, really, everyone. So
yeah, 100%. It's a shame really, because when you think about what boxing does for these young guys as well, in terms of a lot of them talk about saving their lives and whatnot, and getting them off the streets and getting them disciplined, just to forget about the small hole gyms. It's a big shame to me. Just listening.
It's rubbish. Especially the feedback we get is Sam and Al, they're great coaches, but they're brilliant amateur coaches. And you think, right, okay, but where do the fundamentals of boxing come from? It comes from amateurs.
Facts.
But like you said, these guys don't see that at the time. They just see the big picture of money, publicity, TV. And I get it. I do get it. It's like a big carrot just sitting there waiting for him. And you've got to sign this. Don't sign this, then we're not signing you. And these guys will jump at that. So it's just one of them things you've got to keep working at, really.
I wanted to ask about John Hedges, because we watched his debut. And at the time, I think I said watching that fight was a tough fight for him.
Yeah. That first one.
Yeah, it was a tough fight.
Yanardon. Yeah, it was a tough fight.
It was a learning experience, and he was going to learn from it. I thought he won, but I thought he definitely had a lot to learn from it.
Alex, do you think he won?
Obviously, a lot. Listen, my dad is that. I obviously it was during the bubble, so only one coach and a cut man can go, so I couldn't go, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But watching that fight on TV, I was watching it. I was like, fucking hell, it is close. But if you look back at it on the work rate and the punches thrown, he definitely won. Yanardon caught him with one big punch every round that was eye catching.
Yeah.
But then you got to take into account all the flurries that John was throwing and hitting to the body, and all that. That's how boxing should be scored, not just landing one big punch around. You've got to go on the work rate. And John did nick it. Yeah, listen, the scorecard was probably right. Yeah, he nicked it. But what an experience he learned from that, 100%. 100%.
Yeah, I thought that, 100%. I thought people were going to be calling it a robbery, and a lot of people did. A lot of people did. Do you think that criticism from social media and whatnot may have affected his opinion? He got a lot of backlash and whatnot. Do you think that might have played a factor? Yeah,
it didn't help us one bit.
Yeah.
It didn't help us one bit. We had people going, "Oh, you could do better than that. You've got now got to move on. They've taken you as far as you can go. Your performance showed it." But one thing with John is the 4 losses that John's had in his amateur record were all against southpaws. Who did they give for his debut? A southpaw. We said them strictly, do not give him a fucking southpaw because he won't look good. And what happens? It's just like they're trying to do it on purpose. You know what I mean? These people, but honestly, not just saying it. My old man is like Stato with boxing. If you said to him, "Tell me the ABA final in 1994 at what weight category," he'll be able to tell you exactly who's in the final and how he got there and who he beat. And we study the game. We're not just here to be coaches. We will study everything. And with John, we said to everyone, no southpaws, no one below 6 foot. Obviously, 6'4". If he goes too small, he's gonna look stupid. They give him a guy that's 6 foot southpaw, and you think, oh, this ain't gonna be nice. This ain't gonna be pretty.
And he came to fight as well.
The guy was game as hell.
Listen, the guy went a journey, was he? 1, 2, lost 5 at the time. It's not a journeyman, is it? That's nearly half and half, but not. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it was one of them things. But it didn't help.
Flowz, I remember when like before the debut, obviously, because obviously I tuned into Eddie Hearn's interviews and whatnot, and he was talking about how he's got some new super middleweight prospect, 6'5". He said 6'5", and I thought, huh? 6 what?
Yeah, he's a big boy.
Super middle? Nah, impossible. So I've then gone and searched him up, looked at it and said, wow, his dimensions are actually insane for that weight class. 6'5" at super middleweight.
18 as well.
18, I thought, what the hell? I said, where the hell did they find this guy? Obviously the debut wasn't. I think we spoke about the debut on the pod, didn't we? We said it wasn't impressive, but we did stress that he would have learned better from that debut.
100%.
And obviously, I think in his subsequent fights, he's had 3 more and he's won them fairly comfortably. To be honest, he looked better. Yeah. I actually think he's moved up. I'm pretty sure the subsequent fights,
heavy now,
which makes a lot more sense to me. Even at light heavy, he's massive. Well, 6'5" at light heavy, he's still huge. Yeah, he's got so much to grow. He's going to
be heavyweight all day long.
I saw him next to what's it? Run for Bull. Is it Johnny Fisher?
Fisher.
And he looked as big as him. I thought, wait, what's going on here? Yeah, no, his dimensions are ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
He made middleweight easy. The weight. It was
really?
So easy for him. Yeah. We wasn't even stressed.
He's 18 though. That's the thing. He hasn't got the man. I guess the man body or whatever it is. So yeah.
No, he will fit that. He's going to be a heavyweight all day long. 100%.
Man, that's crazy. You were talking about the matchmaking. So how does that process work out in pro ranks? Because obviously you guys were very much advising against Arden. How does the matchworking process work? Was it Matchroom, I guess, who picked the opponent in? Yeah,
so you get, obviously, you don't actually talk to Eddie. You speak to their matchmaker on the show, whoever it is, and they offer you, who they do say, what would you like? Who would you like for the first couple of fights? What we're looking for, and I got box rec. I studied the box rec. I got on the box rec. I put across about 4 opponents that we all agreed with would be perfect for John. And apparently the matchmaker took it to Eddie. No. He's got to have someone with a winning record, or at least a winning their record, because it's the fight camp. It's the only 5 fights just during COVID, so in the entertainment. Okay, fair enough. So I found another couple of guys, not as awkward, orthodox fighters. Again, threw it out. And I think it come down to literally the last week before the fight, and we had to prepare for a southpaw. And you knew, southpaw, fuck. John's always struggled with southpaws. Even sparring, he struggled with southpaws. But listen, it's what it is. But yeah, what we normally do is sorry, I've gone off topic. Yeah, you speak to the promoter. The promoter go, right, the matchmaker for the show is so and so, and then you just basically talk to them about what you're looking for. What kind of fight you want, and yeah, obviously when titles get involved, you don't have that luxury. You got deals in front of you, but when they're starting out, you can sort of pick and choose who you want, really.
That's interesting. I always wonder. Obviously, you find a lot of these debut fighters going off to Mexico and fighting anyone off the street, really. It's all learning.
Barroom balls in Tijuana also.
It helps. Canelo had about
but he had about 40 fights in his record before he actually started fighting people. 15. Yeah, ridiculous. Monster. Yeah, that's really cool. I like how that sort of works. It's good to gain that insight, I suppose.
I can give you an example now. For instance, I've got on the 26th of February, I've got 4 pros out it's just a small horse show in Circus Tavern, Purfleet, and they've said to me, "Who do you want?" And all we do, literally, we go on the box rec and we look at the rankings, because it's all about rankings, getting your name out there. So we look at the rankings. And let's face it, there might be a Tanzanian with a record that looks really good. So you go on a record, you might have like 20 wins and 1 loss. You click on it, and all his wins are against guys, probably the same guy 18 times. and then you've got someone who's had like 0 and 1. And you think, there you go. And he's ranked, 50th in the world. And that's what you've got to do. You've got to be smart with matchmaking. Obviously, study the boxer. I never underestimate any boxer, because you can't play the sport boxing. You can't just pick up a pair of gloves and play it. So we always study, and that's what we do. We thoroughly go through these boxers, but that's how we do the matchmaking as well. We go through the rankings, have a look who's above them and who's below them, and we work out, where we're going to go, really.
That's dope. And obviously, not to focus on John. Obviously, he's left the gym now and whatnot. Good luck to him, etc. But obviously, you do have other fighters in the gym. I guess I know that you guys have you've got Ashley Sexton, haven't you?
Smash Ash. Smash Ash.
It's interesting because I know he obviously he went viral years ago from that amazing knockout of Uzi Ahmed, legendary knockout. And he took like a 5-year break, didn't he, from boxing? He took a break, I think, for personal reasons and whatnot. And he was with you guys before he
So basically, when he had his Uzi Ahmed time, that it wasn't with us then, but when he's making his first comeback, he only spent about 1.5 years out of the ring. So he's getting back in the gym. And my dad, listen, we're quite hard. My dad said to him, right, I'm away this weekend, but Alex is in the gym. If you're going to come down, come to the gym, Alex took you over. When we're back on Monday, we'll go through a full, sit down camp. He didn't turn up. Dad told him to fuck off. We fast forward 3.5 years later, we come back again, but please. So he let him, give him a chance because his son was starting to box at the club as well as a junior. And he said, I want to help out. And we sat down and let's go for another journey, shall we? And that's how it happened, really.
Your dad's a joker.
I like your dad, bro. I can't lie. He sounds like a G. I can't front.
It's raw.
But that's how it should be sometimes. Like, don't mess around. It's not a.
He says it how it is, and unfortunately, out there in boxing, you'll get the coaches that will just tell you what you want to hear. He will tell you you're wasting my fucking time. Pull out the fight, or like he will say you're wasting my fucking time. You're not boxing because X, Y, Z, or you're not ready. Yeah. And unfortunately, that's why sometimes, I'll be honest, there's probably a breakdown. A boxer before they go, well, I can't stay there because he hasn't told me how good my jab was today. And they do get like that. They're pretty honest sometimes. No, honestly, we had a boxer who was like,
believe it. No, I believe it.
Yeah. So, fuck 'em.
Yeah, no, I fully believe it. We've questioned it many times. Certain people will have yes men in their camps and people, just giving them praise, and we can read off the list for it. We ain't going to speak too much about it. We ain't going to talk too much about it, but they know, we know. That's interesting. That he's come back at Ashley's come back at featherweight, hasn't he? I think
well, news pending. Hopefully by tomorrow I'll find out. He could be fighting for the IBO in the Continental title on February the 12th at bantamweight. Okay. Bantam. So ideally for Ashley, though, what he wants to do, the plan, I'll give you the plan now, lowdown. First, you'll be the first to know. So he wants to go exclusive. So bantamweight for the IBO World Intercontinental title on February the 12th. If he wins that, he then wants to drop down to super fly and campaign it there because he feels he can knock out Ahmed and Academy in one night. So, yeah.
Nah, fair play to him. I rate it. Fully respect it. That's sick.
We'll back him. He's our boxer.
Enough. And you feel like you have no issue. Obviously, he's 34 now. There'll be no issues in terms of like dropping down weights, etc.
My only concern is that because obviously he hasn't made that weight for 6 years. That's my concern. But like we said, we take things professionally now. We've got a nutritionist on board full time with us who works with us.
Sick.
And he's in our gym every other day, weighing the boys in, scanning their fat percentages. He works wonders for them. And they've got their S&C is now in house as well. So everything's there under one roof. And any niggles, injuries, we've got Tamasin, our physio, and sports masseuse as well. So we're not cutting any corners this time.
Yeah, that's it. Because I remember watching an interview where he felt like one of the reasons he came back was he just got the itch again, obviously, and he felt like he was just looking at the competition, I guess, in these weight classes, and he just felt that he was better than everyone.
That's what it comes down to,
And I know he had a comeback fight last year, didn't he? In Spain, against just, I guess, obviously just to get back out there and whatnot. Yeah, okay. And for you, obviously, I guess one of the trainers, you feel like the goals that he set for himself, you feel like he can achieve them. He's still got it, and whatnot. He's still sharp,
he's punching hard. I mean, he's punching, if not harder now. He's matured. Like he's 34, so he's got that bit more strength. Thing with Ashley, we've just got to keep him in the gym because obviously if any more fights fall through, the COVID, etc., it does play a massive negative downfall, unfortunately, for these boys, and they will go off the radar because they're not boxing, not earning, are they? Because they've got to go to work, some of them.
Yeah.
Fair.
And sorry, go. You go first.
No, go on, because I wanted to ask about other people you got in the gym as well.
Yeah, that's what.
I'll run them all off to you, don't worry.
Yeah. A few more days.
Okay, no, before you get to that, Flo, doesn't ask. Am I right in thinking also that Billy Joe was originally, he started off with you guys as well, way back in the day when he first started?
Yeah, so Billy Joe was boxed as a junior at SZN, and then he came as a senior to Hoddesdon, and I think he had 34 with us. Yeah, 34, and then he obviously went to the Olympics from there.
Yeah.
So yeah, he was there, but now we've got his son. His son's here, Stevie, little Stevie, and his nephew Billy. So they're both there at the gym. They're doing really well. So
sick.
I'm not hearing your names enough. Like,
yeah, that's what. You man are moving like undercover guys. Like
for a lot of this.
For real, man.
Yeah. It's a shame that not many people flying the banner for Hoddesdon Boxing.
No. And do you know what? Unfortunately, it's because the way my old man is. He's just so hard, and he's like my mate. You're either gonna love him or you're gonna hate him. But when you meet him, he's so quiet. He won't say anything to you. He's just quiet, and he'll look at you. And some people just can't figure him out, and he's not everyone's cup of tea. But other people, they love him to bits because, like I said to you before, he just speaks truth. He's facts. He's real. He's the realest person you've ever met in your life. I had it growing up as a kid. How'd you get sparred? Yeah, you were shit. Okay. There you go. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, son. You were terrible. Okay, brilliant. Cheers. Thanks for that. I quit. but that's the thing. He's real, and some people just don't like it.
Yeah.
It's what it is. And me and him are different. We're very different as well. I will be real with you, but I will be your hype man as well and get you into, but he won't ever do that. Because I understand. I'm still 33. I'm still quite young enough to have a relationship with these boys as mates. So I try and be a friend as well as a coach.
Yeah,
as well. He's strictly.
good cop, bad cop routine. I hear it.
No, it is. Yeah, it is. That's what it's like. Yeah. So
are you shouting lines in the camp in the corner?
Flowz, we said we weren't going to name names.
I'm just asking if you as a mentor.
And I'm slapping them with pads in their face as well. Yeah.
Fair play.
Yeah. Let's talk about, I guess, actually, before we talk about the, I guess, the other fighters you have in the gym and whatnot, in terms of, I guess, as you sort of alluded to now, in terms of the whole good cop, bad cop thing, when it comes to working with fighters, is it obviously it's full-on team effort? Do you and your dad doing it together, or do you focus on some fighters and he will focus on other fighters, or is it both of you together all the time?
So what we do, obviously, we got six boys out in February, all in 1 month. So the place is rocking in a minute. So the way we do things is Monday to Friday is going to be our doors are open, so the pros will come in. But as a squad, because boxing is lonely, we don't want the boys doing too much on their own. We'd like to have a really big team buzz around them all. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, it's pros only. So we shut the doors, because we open it up for people to use the gym as well, between 10:30 till 1 in the afternoon. And that's when all the pros and the elites will come in, and they'll all train, they'll spar all together. And then the Tuesday, Thursdays, they might come in individually, just work on a few things. If Ash might need a bit more S&C, that'd be me. I'll get them on the doing the bits and pieces like that. And that's how we work. We've got Fabio as well. So it's 3 of us really. It's me, my dad, and Fabio. He's a pad man. And we've got Jason Fielding, does the wraps and cuts. So he's on board. So anyone gets cut in spine or the hands need wrapping, he's there. And I said, Paul's there. And we're all there together. It's a massive team effort, massive effort.
Sick. And in terms of other fighters you've got coming up, I guess, or fighters that you feel like potential to go far and the public should look out for, maybe.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, go big them up, man.
I'll run them on through you. So I know we got. So I've got Ryan Charles. He's just come back from the World Amateur Games, but he's 7-1 as a pro. He's a heavyweight, but we're trying to get him down to cruiserweight because again he's small for the weight. So he represents St. Lucia in the Worlds recently, but he's now going back to pro. So he's 7-1. He's boxing in February 26th, along with Angelo Antonio, who's a welterweight, super welterweight. He's now 1-0 from Ipswich. So he's fighting on 26th as well. He's upcoming, a work in progress, coming from a MMA background. So he needs a lot of work on. And they've got Lorenzo Grasso, who's had, he's been with us for amateurs really. He's our stalwart. He's now 1-0. He's had fights fall through because of COVID, but he's a super welterweight. But he's big for the weight. He's very big. So he's quite exciting to sort of keep an eye on because he's gone under the radar quite a little bit. He's again out on February the 26th. And then I've got Nav Iran from Brighton, He's a light heavyweight, again, a bit older, 34, but he can absolutely punch like a mule. Like, he's one of the hardest hits I've got in the pads. My wrists are in pieces after the pads of him. He's hopefully fighting for a WBC Asian title. So obviously he's from Iran originally. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that's a way in. And then the younger ones, we've got Georgie Ellis, who's been with us for amateurs, 7-time national champion. I'm hoping to get some news from Uncle Frank with him soon. So again, I'm hoping he gets through the door with Uncle Frank, along with Mason Smasher Smith, used to be at Finchley. He's 3-0 as a pro. Got him. Again, he's worked with AJ quite a bit, so I'm hoping we can get him with Uncle Frank again. Tommy Jacobs, he's 3-0. He's fighting a guy 4-0 on February the 12th, so it's a good crossroads match there. Ashley Sexton. I had Sherelle Brown, 7-0 women's WBC national champion. She's just having a break in a minute. We've got Shanice James from the Army. Yeah, honestly, I could be all night now. I've got loads. Honestly.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm trying to type out the names. So
Yeah,
I'm trying to jot them down.
I can text them to you later if you want.
Yeah, hey, DM us all those names, bro, because like obviously we want to make sure that we're first out here. Tell people we jumped to the bandwagon time ago. But that's sick. It's, the gym's thriving clearly, man. Big up Hoddesdon, man. They're clearly thriving.
We've just got Alfie Price back as well. Alfie Price is 7-0 pro. He was Southern Area super lightweight champion. But he's just been inactive. He's been quite hard to match as well. People just avoid him because he was on GB for a while as well, and now he's back in the gym. And like I said, he went to Wiggins to try out, didn't enjoy it. He's come back. So,
in terms, because obviously you mentioned Uncle Frank a few times. Obviously, Hedges was with Matchroom One. Obviously,
yeah.
In terms of promoter, do you find it easier working with a certain promoter or going with a certain promoter, or it's whoever comes calling really?
It's really frustrating because Frank Warren's office is a mile from Hotbox. It's so frustrating.
Right.
And his sons live around the area and they all know about Hoddesdon. But it's just like, I just don't understand why they've not put anything into us as a gym, because they've gone Queensbury iBox, which is South East London. It's nowhere near them. But we're literally producing champions after champions. ABA, like again this year, we had another ABA champion. That's 7 we've had produced in the last, how many years? We've got 4 boys on GB now. Like, how much more do we? To get a name, have we got to do? But again, I think it comes down to people's preference of what they like of a coach, and it is what it is. But yeah, I'm hoping Frank will sign a couple of the boys soon. We've actually had a meeting with them recently, so I'm hoping it comes good, and we can have something set up with them.
I hope so too, man. I hope so too. It's if the HQ is a mile from where you look, it's a no-brainer, isn't it? It really is a no-brainer.
And the sad thing as well, like obviously Hamza Shiraz uses our gym as a training camp. So every training camp Hamza Shiraz has, he uses our gym.
It's cheeky.
So no, it's not. Yeah, it is cheeky, but it's good for us because it works both ways. Big publicity for us, and we get along really well with Hamza and his family. Like his dad and everyone are brilliant people. But yeah, it's great. And when the Frank Warren lot come down to see him and sort of gym, they're a bit like, oh, they've got 2 full-size rings in this gym. Wow, not many places have got that. And a whole different room for bags, and they've got a room for S&C. It's like, shit, they've actually put a lot of time and effort into this. So, and we've invested heavily. Me and my dad have dipped into our pockets to make that gym work. So, fingers crossed.
Fair play to you guys, man. So it sounds like you're working at something, and it's going to bear fruit. It's bearing fruits, actually.
It is. I was going to say it is bearing fruit for sure.
You've got some hot and coming fighters, and hopefully a few more get into. How many fighters do you have?
Breathe it.
At a minute, because you were reading off bit. How many fighters do you have coming in?
What, pro?
Pro.
Pro, I've got 12, I think, or 13. Yeah, 12, 13. And 6 of them are out next month.
What card is that? It says February 26th.
So they're only little ones. So February the 12th, I've got a new promotional team called TM14. They've got the Brentwood Centre. So I've got Tommy and Ash on that. And then on the 26th, it's Victor Smith promotions at Purfleet, and I've got 4 on that one.
Okay.
Just little ones, just to get them ticking over, that's all.
Fair play. And you've got a few woman boxers as well, it sounds like as well.
Yeah, so I've got Sherelle Brown. She won the ABAs 3 times. Not with us. She was at Islington as amateurs, but then she saw the light and come to Hoddesdon. And We took her from 1-0 to 7-0 and a WBC national champion. She got offered a world title fight, but the thing with women's boxing is just the money. Like, she deserves a lot more, and they're offering silly like £1,000, and you're thinking £1,000 for a woman, and it's just not on. So she took a lot of time out. It hurt her mentally. She did deserve a lot more.
Yeah,
really out of the sport. So I think she's taking a step back. And then got Shanice James. She's really exciting. She's a soldier. She's in the army.
okay.
She's based in Cannock. My dad's actually managing her. And we're looking to hopefully get her in through Boxer, if we can. Because I know they're looking for more women to come onto the platform. And she is, honestly, she's exciting. She can whack. She's quite.
Right.
She's the way she moves is like a little Mike Tyson as well. So yeah,
Oh.
I'm hoping we can work something.
I'm a fan already.
We're big advocates of women's boxing here, so
Massive advocates.
Yeah, I love it. It's brilliant.
It's amazing, and so they're kind of putting the men to shame as well when it comes to in terms of like the big
100%.
fights being made and whatnot, and exciting fights being made. It's always exciting. Then the champions fight each other, so I can't hate on it, man. I wanted to keep on thriving. Hopefully, the purses start to match up as well. Yeah, for sure. And yourself, Alex, because obviously you mentioned as well that you yourself box as well. So you box, play rugby. How have you, I guess, found balancing, I guess, doing both sports? And obviously, I think you said that this is probably your last year as amateur, and then you're going to call it a day and focus on the coaching. How's your amateur experience been for you, bro?
It's been really stop-start because just like, it's like anything, life just gets in the way. Like having that having a gym as busy as ours, you sort of get pushed to the back because you need to help coach rather than actually get out and box. So, and also being a super heavyweight, we don't have many in the gym. We only have one, and he's always at GB. So the sparring comes limited, and you've got to go out to spar. And in the end, you're a bit like, do you know what? I'll just fucking coach because I can see him struggling over there. So I've had a really stop-start amateur career, but I've been always sparring, always in the gym, ticking over, obviously playing rugby. So I'm always fit, but it's just getting about sometimes as well. It's just been awful. It's been rubbish. But it doesn't really bother me. For me, I do it for the love. I would never. I would turn over if I could, but I know we need more coaches than boxers in a minute. I could outnumbered. So yeah, it's just been one of them things really, just sort of left to the back burn. So I would like to get out a few more times this year if possible, but we'll see what happens. I doubt it probably.
And for you, obviously we've got quite an extensive amateur setup in the UK now. Are you a big fan of it, or do you feel like some changes need to be made in the amateur setup? Like, what do you say amateur setup over here, the pros and cons are?
I mean, this year was a really weird year for amateur boxing because what they've done, they've rushed through the ABAs straight away because obviously COVID. Yeah. So we've just finished the ABAs last month, and they kick off again in 2 months.
They didn't have it last year, did they? The ABAs.
No, that's what I mean. So they cancelled it, but that's what I mean. So they cancelled because of COVID. And a lot of it went behind closed doors, and they had to close it because there's a few disputes and stuff with a few traveller families that they had to shut the venues down. Okay. That's what I mean. They've just finished the ABAs last month, and then they're doing the ABAs again next month. So the boys it's a really weird year this year. Yeah. So we had a really mixed bag. Our senior team was really strong this year, but they underperformed, and we only come away with one winner, and I think we come with 2 semi-finalists. But as the squad we're putting in next year, I would like to think and hope we'd get at least 2, maybe 3 champions, and maybe a couple of finalists on top of that as well. But England boxing, amateur boxing is good, but the only thing we struggle, everyone's probably going to tell you, the judging is just some of it. It's just,
Same old.
Pro, take your pick, man.
You've got to knock them out to get the draw or whatever. It's just one of them sports. Unfortunately, it's never going to be. But that's the talking point, though, right? That's what we can talk about these things. Like the Gary Russell fight yesterday, I thought he won that fight.
You gave it to Russell?
Yeah, I gave it to Russell. I thought he nicked it.
We'll come to that. We'll come to that.
You picked it up to. Yeah, we'll come to it.
We'll come to it because
talk about boxing.
We'll come to that for sure. I just want to pick your brains a bit more in terms of like just boxing, I guess, in the UK. Obviously, boxing is thriving in the UK. It's going from strength to strength each year. Obviously, we're producing world-class boxers, champions, etc., etc. I guess domestically, I'll say world as well, but let's start with domestically. What would you say your favorite division is, and I guess which fighters you say you really, really rate domestically, and you see as going to achieve or obviously, if they've already achieved world class stuff, then say them as well. But yeah, I mean, what would you say your favorite divisions and fighters are domestically?
I think surely the most exciting in the UK has got to be light heavyweight, right? With Yardy, Callum Johnson, Buatsi.
I was hoping you'd say that.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? Dan Aziz. I mean, that is
Craig Richards, Shaq.
Bro,
It's
that's what I mean.
It's crazy.
It's exciting, isn't it? I mean, there's some good boys there. I mean,
who's your pick for that division?
Right, I like Buatsi. I think I've met him a few. He's a lovely guy, but I think we're in activity with him. It could be his downfall, is where the guys are getting busy now. Do you know what I mean?
You said that, yep.
So, for me, Callum Johnson punches like a train, but in his last performance, again, you look at it and go, oh, that weren't great. I thought he might have lost that, or a draw at least, at worst. So, that division is wide open for me. I mean, Dan Aziz, at the minute, he's on fire. Obviously, he's in the gym. He's picked up the British Commonwealth. I mean, he's working. But Craig Richards, again, I like him. He's so awkward, and he can punch. I mean, I take your pick out of them lot. But Buatsi,
Arthur, Yards, they're all. It's sick. It's sick. Yeah,
that's what I mean. That's a big division. I wouldn't mind seeing a prize fighter like heavyweight.
That's what we want to see.
You've been saying.
I'll give all my money to watch that.
Just have a tournament, Super Six between all, whatever you want to call it.
Take it all. That's it.
I'm there. Yeah, I hear that. That's it.
Callum Smith's in the mix now as well.
Yep.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's all. Yeah, that definitely stands up.
100%. But yeah, I mean, domestically as well. There's some wicked talents coming through as well. I mean, Josh Taylor. I mean, there's the man in a minute domestically. I don't think he gets the credit that he deserves. Really, he's cleaned up already. There's loads.
Would you say Josh Taylor's your favorite fighter domestically at the moment?
I wouldn't say my favorite, but he's done very well for himself in that division. I mean, he's got all the belts.
Yeah,
and I think Jack Catterall's fight for me personally, I think it's boring. That's just my views.
He should clean him up.
He should.
Carroll's good. Yeah. I rate Carroll. I think Carroll's a good fighter, but he should.
He's awkward. I mean, but again, in activity wise, he hasn't really been there, is he? And I like Jack Cat. He's a nice fella again. But yeah, it's one of them things. But man, there's a lot. You can make some good fights. I just hope they make them soon. That's all. There's a lot out there.
I hear that. That's dope. Yeah, Flowz, do you have any other questions for Alex before we talk about some of the other news we want to talk about?
But yeah, the other news has got to be perked up. So yeah, that's all my questions. Let's talk about what's happening in the world of boxing. But yeah.
All right, cool. So
insightful.
Mad insightful, man. Thanks, Greg. That's been sick. Yeah, obviously you brought up already the Gary Russell fight. We might as well talk about that. So you thought Gary Russell? First of all, are you familiar with Gary Russell Jr. or that division?
I do like watching the Americans. Obviously, I try and catch up on it as much as I can.
Yeah.
I'm more obviously being a bigger guy. I do like the heavyweight division over there. I always keep an eye on the up and coming talents. Like the Jareds and Ivan Daichko's, all that kind of lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, the way I watch boxing sometimes, if it was such a close fight, what I tend to do is I watch it with the volume, and then I watch a couple of rounds without the volume, and I look at the space between the two boxers because that's when you can see the punches landing. A lot of people just will focus on one boxer, but yeah, I always try and watch the space, and you can see the shots getting caught between the spaces. But yeah, I thought I had him a couple of rounds. I did, to be honest with you, I thought he might have nicked it.
Interesting.
Because again, with him, it wasn't his best performance, was it? I mean, he didn't box great.
It's weird because it's obviously just to clue listeners up. Gary Russell was probably the longest reigning champion. Obviously, he's lost 6 years. 6 years, yeah, 6 years.
6 years, yeah.
So, but the issue I've had with Gary Russell is he's a phenomenal boxer. Yeah, he's an elite boxer, technically superb, but he's so inactive. He fights once a year, and in fact, in this one, this was like his first fight in 2 years. His inactivity is a joke thing, and I've said before he's holding that belt hostage because he doesn't unify. He only fights mandatories and whatnot. He doesn't there's no unifications or nothing. So I've been saying I want this belt to be freed from him because he's not going to fight anyone else. He's just going to hold it and fight once a year. So this Magsayo guy, never seen him before.
No.
Big guy, big. You saw the size difference. Big for the weight.
Big for the weight.
And he's come in, I guess, the first 4 rounds I didn't expect it to come out like that because I've never seen him before. But
he roughed him up, didn't he? The first
roughed him up, applying pressure.
I think, yeah, he was
the
clever.
body work for me was amazing. He was really banging to the body, and Gary Russell's a slick counter puncher with hand speed, but this Magsayo guy was countering him, and I thought to myself, "Whoa, this guy he's good. He can box. He's troubling him." And then I think it was the fourth round now. Gary Russell's hit him with a counter shot, and that's popped his shoulder out or done something to his shoulder. He previously said before the fight that he's coming in with an injury. So he told everyone already that, his shoulder's injured. And he's done his shoulder. And then for the rest of the fight, he wasn't able to throw that right hand. It was his right, wasn't it? Yeah. And it was weird because I thought Gary Russell boxed better one-handed than he was boxing. I said, wait, what's going on here? he was boxing better one-handed than he was with two-handed. Yeah, literally each time Magsayo was, and I was getting over Magsayo because I think the keys to victory were there for me. Cut off the ring, circle to the opposite way so he can't land that counter shot, and just keep banging to the body. And he stopped doing that for a couple of rounds, and that was giving Gary Russell some rounds in my book. Beautiful counter shots with the one hand, jabbing with the one hand, pot shotting, and then obviously the defense, slipping punches, being very hard to hit, the footwork, etc. Elite level. But I think for me, obviously, you said with boxing, you mentioned it earlier, Alex, in terms of how boxing is scored and whatnot. It's very subjective. And cool, you can reward the amazing defensive work and the fact that Gary Russell was making Magsayo miss and whatnot. But the bottom line is, obviously, Magsayo was, I guess, forcing the pace. He was on the front foot throughout. And even though, yes, he was missing a lot more when Gary Russell had one hand as opposed to two hands, he was still outlanding Gary Russell. But obviously, with boxing, you question, do you score fights for volume or do you score fights for effective punches landed? It's always a back and forth, I guess, with judging and whatnot. And for me, I think I just about gave it to Magsayo, or I think I had it a draw, one of those two. I definitely didn't have Gary Russell winning.
Yeah, I did one or two, maybe. Yeah,
it was super close, but I think I just about gave it to Magsayo. But I commend what Gary Russell did in terms of the work he did with one hand, and he outboxed him in some portions. But there was also times when Magsayo, I think towards the last couple of rounds, he wasn't able to sort of bang to the body again and slow him down and get him. So man, it was one of those fights. Flowz, sorry, if you want to jump in, what were your thoughts on it?
I think you guys have echoed what I wanted to say, really and truly. I think Gary Russell picks up towards the later rounds. The first 4 rounds, he was a bit bamboozled. What's the guy's name? Magsayo?
Magsayo, I think. Magsayo. Well, he's good. I liked him.
He impressed me. He had a clear game plan. Obviously, Gary's a southpaw, so he was trying to be cheeky at times, wasn't he? Stepping on his foot and whatnot. But he was trying to counter those shots. He was trying to do sneaky things, go to the body, the counter left hook. He was trying to get in there. So he impressed the first 4 rounds. But what Gary Russell is good at is his distance control. He's very good at getting in and out, and his upper body movement, head movement's all good. But I couldn't say he won. I think the most I can say is a draw because the most I can, because there were definitely 4 rounds for the Philippines.
Oh yeah, the first 4, 100%, he smothered him. He didn't let him breathe. Yeah, and
then I think he probably stuck in a few more. So I gave it to him by a round. But I wanted to know, Alex, what exactly did you see that you felt made Gary Russell Jr. take it? Because he was landing, and I was thinking this as I was watching it, that he's landing these jabs, and the judges are going to see the more telling punches are coming from I don't even know his name, not which his name. But if you're scoring it, you've got to score it properly. You've got to score it fairly. Like, you've got to count the jabs as well. But what did you see?
That's what I mean. So every judge is different. Some judges like pressure. Some judges like the skill and the flair. Some people like, some people scoring on defence as well. So it's what you like. For me, I like obviously the work rate. That's me. I like work rate. Punches and bunches, as they say, and stuff like that. For me, I think he just outlanding him a little bit. They're not, like you said, not telling punches, but he's just beating him to the punch now and again, and then move his feet, adjust his feet. I was thinking, I probably would give him that round, just give that round, edging that round a little bit. He lost that round, but that's what I thought it was really, just the work rate, really, just the the volume of punches he was throwing. Obviously, Magsayo was throwing some big shots, trying to throw some big shots, catch him downstairs. He was mixing his attacks up quite well. But I mean, like the more direct, sort of straighter putt shots were coming from like the pop shots and everything. I just thought we might have edged it on that. Like you said, around a draw, wouldn't argue with it, but maybe around here and there. But that's what I thought really.
To be honest, it was close. So
yeah, he was close.
Kerry said he won 10-2.
Yeah, he afterwards he said he won. He first said 10-2 and then he said 9-3. Yeah, he was adamant that he outboxed him and whatnot.
He weren't happy, though, was
he outboxed him in portions, but I just don't think he did enough. Maybe if it went on an extra 2 rounds,
he could have made it clearer. Yeah, he could have made it clearer. I think.
But then you say one-handed. What he did with one hand is elite to me. He boxed better one-handed than he did.
100%. Yeah, no, he did. He sort of woke up it, didn't it? He kicked out the arse.
Yeah.
To be fair, inactivity once again. You can't. He's 33.
He's 33 now, 33, and he fights once a year and 2 years. Like it's that's always been my gripe because he's an elite boxer to me. He's one of the best technicians out there. I love watching him work, but like I said, that belt's been held hostage by him for 6 years. And I'm sure this Magsayo guy he's not the type to duck any sort of things to unify. To be fair to Gary, I think he is partly avoided, but he's also, I think, quite difficult to work with, apparently, in terms of negotiations for unifications and whatnot. So,
I've heard that as well.
I'm all about unifications. That's what I like to see. I like to see divisions unified and whatnot. That's Flowz. I think you're the same as well. You've always been the same. So, yeah.
I like to see boxers active. I mean, another one that really winds up is AJ. Boxes once every 10 months.
We've said this.
You know?
We've said this from 15 fights in.
That's what I mean. I mean, let's face it. Back in the day, Hagler, Hearns, you're fighting every 9 weeks, 10 weeks, and that's why I used to love. I like watching the old boxing because they're probably coming fresh off the 6-week camp, after just boxing, and these boys are going at it, and that's why their records are 70 bouts, 80 bouts, because he boxed probably every month, and that was the real fighters for me, the 80s and 90s. And nowadays they're just wrapped up in cotton wool. It's like, I'm not boxing him because he's offered me $1 less than that one, and just box. It's the sport we love to see fighting, so why are you not doing it?
I think part of it is obviously being like a pay-per-view star as well, and obviously it's pure money. You know, they roll you out once or twice a year. You know, and that's why obviously they're not trying to dilute that. I guess that's, you know, when you're a pay-per-view star, you're once or twice a year fighter. That's just how it is, unfortunately. Money. That's the sport.
You said this about AJ. That's the biggest thing that's messed up his career. I think being a pay-per-view star so early.
At 15 fights in,
and to be honest, he doesn't need to be that. Like, why does every fight need to be on pay-per-view? I know he's a pay-per-view star.
You said it,
He could have. He should have been fighting 6 times a year. At that point, he should have been fighting 6 times a year, and he's fighting twice a year. Of course, he's going to be inexperienced at this stage of his career.
Yeah.
But we say to our guys who are a small hall show, we aim to get you out 4 to 5 times a year. It's, you know, at the end of the day, you want to earn some money out of ticket sales as well, surely, you know?
Yeah.
That's a nice segue, to be fair, because there's some news out there.
Yeah, there has been some news. Actually, before we go into the news, I was probably want to shout out Freddie Roach as well, because he's obviously Magsayo's trainer. And I'm pretty sure by now they've got a statue of him in the Philippines, because obviously Pacquiao and now Magsayo, he's doing good things to that country. So shout out to Freddie Roach, legendary trainer.
That division's the upset division, because Kiko Martinez got the IBF.
Bloody hell. That was mad still. I was rattled by that when I saw that.
Big knockout.
But AJ, always news of AJ, I guess. Actually, I want to pick your brains actually about some coaching questions as well, Alex. But I guess the news is just coming in that apparently we talked about, I think we briefly touched upon the whole step aside issue, Flowz.
Yeah.
And that they potentially might be offering him some step aside money so that Usyk goes and fights Fury. But apparently he's going to, I guess the article was from The Guardian, I think it was, but he's going to accept it. Or Telegraph, That's 15 mil. And he's going to accept that to allow Fury and Usyk to proceed. Flowz, what are your initial thoughts on this one?
For one, I don't know if I believe it.
Yeah.
2, I'll be disappointed. I'll be heavily disappointed, especially after he said, "Don't come to me with that nonsense." purely because you want to get your get back. You can't go out like that against Usyk and not run it back. You have to run it back. You talk about being a fighter. Talks about being a throwback fighter, AJ, a lot.
Yeah.
Talks about being a throwback
He
fighter.
loves dropping that. He loves dropping that. Yeah.
Throwback fight. I know what the throwback fighters would have done. But third point is, you got to say, if he is a businessman and you're not a throwback fighter, pick or choose. If you're a businessman, it makes business sense because you'll get the money, you can fight the winner, and then you can fight the loser as well. You'll make more money going down this route. If you back yourself. If you back yourself, you've got to make more money going down this route. But then there's the pride route, there's the ego, there's the throwback fighter route. But yeah, I guess I'm trying to be balanced, but I'll be disappointed if he takes this.
That's the thing, though. AJ himself seems unbalanced. When I say that, I mean like he dropped that interview where he went on a rant about being a throwback fighter, and that he's trying to emulate the old people, or the old champions are old, right? And then 2 minutes later, he said, I'm a businessman at the end of the day. Basically, that's basically how he's framed it. Like, so I think he himself doesn't know what he wants to be, whether he wants to be the throwback guy or the smart businessman that makes smart business decisions, like Mayweather does. So I don't know, man. But I will, as a fan, obviously, I'll be disappointed because obviously we saw him get the get back against Ruiz, and obviously Usyk is a tougher prospect. We know that, but it's like the way you lost, bro. You've got to go and get that back straight away, man. We saw you in the 12th round, looking like you were crying, gasping for air. You can't go out like that, man. But yeah, who are we to say? Obviously, hindsight's a bitch. He might go and obviously wait for the opportunity now, 15 million richer, and then go and win and get his titles back. Congrats to him. So who knows? But I feel like he should go and take that fight now, or this year when he can, as opposed to waiting for them guys to get it on. Because boxing's frustrating and weird. They might Fury might win that fight now against Usyk, and might turn around and say, "Okay, cool, I'm retiring now." Like something like it's never a given. So take what's in front of you now, man. That's why I always say. But yeah, I'm not the one calling the shots. What about you, Alex? For you, do you feel like AJ should take the step aside money, or do you feel like he should go and get that back?
I mean, does he need the money realistically? He's got his own management company, isn't he? Set it up. He's earned millions already. For me, like he said, he's got to go back it now. Like I want to kill him. I'm going to hurt him. Back it up. Let's go boxing and go to Ukraine. Wherever you got to go, Abu Dhabi. I don't know where you're going to fight him. For me, I'd like to see him fight. Go for it. Step aside. Nah, that's an easy way out, isn't it? Really. Like he said, he's got to back up. He's got to back up his comments of what he said. So I'd like to go see him box Usyk 100%.
Yeah, he has been talking a lot. He said he's going to be.
Yeah, like I said, he's going to stick it all over him. He's going to hurt him. He's going to make him.
That's what I'm saying.
Right,
yeah.
Let's go see this new AJ. Then let's see it. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to see it happen again. 100%.
What were your thoughts about the first fight, and whatnot, in terms of how it happened, how it played out? Yeah, would you say it was wrong tactics from AJ, or just there's nothing you can do?
He just stood off him and gave him too much respect. I mean, I've watched Usyk for years now. I watched him in the Olympics at 2012, and he's a small heavyweight, but the footwork and the work rate and the accuracy. I mean, he's like a bigger Lomachenko, really, isn't he? Let's face it, the way he is. And he's just smart and calculated, and he was waiting for AJ to fall in every time, and when he did, he boom, 2 shots, and he was catching him. And AJ looks stuck in between 2 styles. He's like, if I go forward and get counter punched, if I sit on the back foot, I'm going to get clipped anyway. And he was just stuck in limbo. And then the camera pans him in a corner, and you got the cut man telling him what to do, the coach telling him what to do, and then the spit bucket man telling him what to do.
And just praising him. Great job, AJ. Well done.
Great, AJ. You've got a lovely cut there as well. Well done. You've lost that round.
Let's talk about the corner. Let's talk about corner as a coach. Obviously, it'd be nice to get your view on, I guess, from a coaching standpoint. Obviously, there's been a lot of talk about AJ. Obviously, he was in America. He visited a couple of gyms over there in America. There was a lot of people calls for him to sort of get rid of Rob McCracken, who's been with him for a long time now, and get someone else in to maybe help him change styles and preparing for this Usyk fight. First and foremost, do you feel like do you feel like these calls for a new head coach, a new training team, sort of are kind of like reactionary from people, or do you feel like it's the right move for him to do?
Well, if you look at AJ, yeah, he is institutionalised. Let's face it. So after won the ABA, etc., he was based in Sheffield and GB. He hasn't moved from there. He's been there the whole time of his career, realistically.
Yeah.
So he should for me, he should have left, got out of there a long time ago. Realistically, personally, for me, like he's been stuck with McCracken for what 10, 15 years, near enough. It's just a long time. He has added new additions into his training camp. Look at that, Angel Fernandez. I'm baffled about that guy. And then
no one rates that guy, you know. No one else wants to rate him.
Yeah, Angel Fernandez. Yeah, fair enough. And then JB Clayton, another one. I don't really know where he's come from, but I know he comes from a kickboxing background. He does a lot of work with Ben Whittaker, but like he's added, he's like handpicks. I don't know these coaches because they're like, it feels like favours of people. Like, I'll get him in my camp because he's worked really well with one boxer I know. But nothing's changed. He's still the same boxer. And Rob McCracken's always in and out of his camps. Obviously, he works with GB. He's always in and out, in and out. So there's nothing really stable there. For me, AJ, I'd love to see him get someone like Manny Stewart in the corner of him, someone that's like an older, wiser head guiding him, because I think that'd work wonders with him. Like Klitschko had it, and it worked with him. For me, yeah, I'd love to see AJ change trainers realistically, just try something fresh, because he's been stuck, I think, personally, in styles for a long time.
Damn. I mean, we said the same thing, Flowz, but yeah, I mean, it's interesting hearing it from an actual coach as well. From that,
we say it all the time.
Yeah, it's just a different lens. I think he's too set in these ways. He needs something to maybe bring out that sort of
100%.
Of it, because we feel like the keys for him to beat Usyk. He tried to box Usyk, and you can't outbox a master boxer. He can never ever in his life outbox Usyk. So I'm not parring him, Floyd. That's a fact. He can never ever.
He gave him too much respect as well.
He can never outbox Usyk. Usyk won't be outboxed by any. But I'm telling you, that guy is insane as a boxer.
Tyson Fury might, but
maybe Tyson Fury. Maybe Tyson Fury. But I don't even think Fury will look to box Usyk. He will just put his weight on him.
He'll jump on him like what they did against Wilder, yeah.
That's exactly how he's going to try and box him.
Tie him up, hit him, all the little back of the head stuff like that.
Yeah. You don't outbox. Dark arts.
Yeah.
Leaning on him on the ropes, hugging him up. Man. That's why I feel like he needs to do. You don't box a boxer. You war a boxer. You go to war with him. And
you go to war with him.
People question. We've questioned it on this pod as well. Does AJ sort of have that that dog in him to bring that out of him? Do you feel like he does? Or do you feel like this is how he is? He's not really that.
I don't know.
That demon.
I don't know. I don't know. Like the young AJ wasn't he? He was from the streets. He was from the end. He was swinging it. And then nowadays it's like I don't know. It's just there's that bit of spark, a bit of spunk missing about him. I don't know.
It's weird. We said before. It's almost like AJ's got a chip on his shoulder that he wants to try and prove that he's a top boxer, right? Technical. He's a technician. And I guess there's always a fine line and balance. Obviously, it's great being a technician. I love watching technicians go to work, but sometimes it's just got to be swingers. Sometimes I swear.
That's what getting the fans and attention, to be honest. It's heavyweight.
Let's face it, heavyweights, they're not fucking technicians. Trust me, when you got guys laying low on the ropes, it ain't pretty. It's horrible. Yeah. And I hate
it. You know what's crazy is? AJ can do what we're saying he needs to do and still lose. That's how good Usyk is. Yeah. It's not that he's a guarantee to win.
This is why people were moving like, oh, he lost to Usyk. He's washed. Usyk's a generational guy. Like, he's one of the best boxers of this era. Full stop. Like, he's mad. What he's done amateur-wise, two gold medals, clean up the entire cruiserweight. Cruiserweight, cleaned it up easily with ease. Really, one tough fight with Bradis, but he kind of
in control, isn't he? Really?
And it's no shame losing to Alexander Usyk. That guy's insane. And AJ's not finished just because he lost to him. Even if he loses to him again, I won't count him as finished. He's just lost to him.
I don't think he's finished. He'll have to probably go the more sort of domestically route with like Dillian White again, or the Fury. You have to go that way. Or fight one of them young, hungry heavyweights coming up from one of them ones. Yeah,
and don't forget, there's a lot of money in that. AJ, regardless, is going to make a lot of money from.
100%.
Yeah, 100%. I hear that. That's
the heavyweight division is exciting now as well. There's a lot out there. But in America, there's a lot of young talents now. They're sitting on like 21 and 0s, 23 and 0s, and they've got to be tested.
Yeah, we highlighted some. Obviously, we highlighted Big Baby, didn't we? Big Baby. He's probably Big Baby, and he's probably the one that are the American prospects that I probably think is the best. But obviously, you've got other guys like coming through America. Obviously, not American, but Frank Sanchez, obviously Cuban. Yeah, he looks really, really good. Yeah, they got some guys over there, man.
They got
for sure.
Ivan Daichko, who's from Wales, Kazakhstan as well. He's 12 and 0, 12 knockouts, and he's 6'9", 6'10".
Bloody hell!
You know, won a bronze medal, I think, as well in the Olympics.
I'm not too familiar with him actually. I'll check him out.
Check him out. He's a big old lump.
How's his movement? Obviously, that big. Is he? Can he okay, he's not like Fury.
He's a big punch. No, he's a big puncher. That's what I mean. Like the Americans get all these sort of Kazakhs and Uzbeks and the Cubans, and they bring them into their camps, and these guys have done things in the amateurs, and if they can tweak them, and make them stars, they will. And that's why it's exciting, especially in heavyweight division. Now you're starting to see some real prospects come over, across the water, and they're working on them.
Obviously, because you box super heavy at amateurs, anyways. So obviously, I know you're familiar with the heavyweight division. Would you say for you, Fury is the best in the world, the best heavyweight? Do you not see Fury losing?
I don't think at the minute no one loses. No, if his mindset's right, no. If he's having a wobble, then there's a chink in the armour there. But no, the guy's he's just too big. He's not just overly like a big concussive puncher, but when you're getting clumped with 10-ounce gloves consistently, it's gonna break you down. Like the Wilder fight, he just broke him down, and just he's too big, and that's what he should have done the first fight. Realistically, he was not body beautiful, but just allowing him, push him around the ring a little bit. But yeah, no, he's got it all. He can move. He's evasive. He thinks as well. He's got a great thinking brain.
Mm-hmm.
He's a boxing man. He really is.
He's a fighting man.
Yeah, as he said, he's a fighting man. But you can tell his IQ's high, very, very high.
It is. And but Wilder for me is a freak. 15.5 stone heavyweight, and he's knocking everyone out. You put that power into someone like Tyson Fury, then you really got everyone. You got everything, don't you, realistically.
Yeah. Imagine that.
Tyson's one.
As I say, God said, "Nah, you can't have it all, bro."
You know what? I'll move division. If I was 80, I'll fight a cruiserweight.
Bridgerweight, a new one. Bridgerweight.
Yeah, Bridgerweight. Yeah.
I'll move down or something. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Sick.
Other heavyweights, Hrgovic, Yoka. Talk about them.
He's avoided. He's very avoided, isn't he?
Hrgovic. He's a problem.
I'll tell you what, that's a fight. Again, they're going on the S-Jam and like Sam Jones before, Joe Joyce avoided. All right, then. Hrgovic looking for a fight. Why don't you fight him? Oh, no, you're all right, then fight him. Come on, boys. Come on, man.
A lot of people don't want any of Hrgovic smoke, man. Yeah. They're worried about him. He's very, very good.
The Yoka fight, I mean, if it does pull off, that'd be a good fight because it's 1-1, isn't it? They both beat each other in the amateurs once. So
yeah, it's 2-1 to Yoka in the amateurs.
2-1, isn't it, Yoka? So
yeah,
one was in the juniors.
Juniors, though. Sorry,
yeah. But this is why we brought up because obviously we've had news that Yoka accepted it, so they moved. Yoka accepted it, but
about the mandatory, there was some rubbish.
I think Yoka had an agreement to fight Martin Bakole, right? Is it Bakole? Yeah. And because of that, he's had to. They've had to move past him because of. I think obviously, I'm guessing Bakole's camp with the protests and stuff. No, he's got to fight us next or whatever. So they're looking for another opponent now, which is once again, this is a part of the parcel when we spoke about boxing just being jarring.
Stinks.
Flowz is shaking his throat livid because we were super because we thought that Yoka Hrgovic fight is what we want. Two unbeaten, two unbeaten up and coming heavyweights that are just top talents, and there's priors there between both of them. So what they're thinking, cool, they can settle their differences and whatnot. But yeah, boxing can be like this sometimes. It sets you up to and then lets you down.
Politics,
it's too political, man. It's too political. We said hopefully this year, there'll be less politics and we can see some of these big fights. But
that's what I mean. It's been probably not, man. There's been nothing in January. There's been no boxing in January. Realistically, is there? Warren called it off. He said nothing. But then you look forward now, and there's some really good fights coming up. So,
Yeah,
like you said, hopefully they can keep announcing them now.
yeah, 100%. Yeah, boy, this has been fantastic. Flowz, I don't know if you've got any other questions for Alex here or whatever, man. This is
whatever you want to know, I'll tell you.
super insightful.
Hopefully, we can get you back on sometime as well.
Have to get you back on here again, bro, for sure.
Always welcome. I've loved it.
Yeah, just for the listeners as well. Yeah, just before we head off, obviously, sort of end things. Just what are your socials? Just plug your socials. Where can these listeners find you at?
Yeah, so I'll be obviously at Team Hoddbox as well. That's my club account on Instagram. My personal account is at AlexLeo8, and obviously that'll be up to date with all my fight announcement with the boys and stuff like that. So, like I said, I've got a really busy February. Got 6 pros out, and I'm hoping in that time as well we'll get some news from Big Uncle Frank about a couple of boxes we've got coming through. So, fingers crossed.
Uncle Frank made that call, man.
Uncle Frank. Yeah, man.
But yeah, we'll put your socials in the description so we know where listeners can find you and whatnot. Yeah, big up Hoddesdon, man. They're doing big things over there, and like we said, we think by the sounds of things, you lot are underappreciated. We hope you lot get your flowers, man, from these fighters.
I appreciate it.
But yeah, we'll give them to you now, man. Shout out to Hoddesdon. Keep up the good work. Yeah, this is episode 74 of the SZN Podcast. I've been your boy Kam.
I'm your boy Flowz.
And thanks for keeping it locked. Make sure you keep rocking with us. Peace.
Get a strap. I'm strapped up.
What's happening? What was that about?
Let's make the fight happen. We strapped the fuck up.